Nobody actually disagrees about who hits harder. The real argument, the one that's been burning for 20 years, is about something much harder to measure. Because one of these two heroes was built to break limits, and the other was built to prove that limits aren't the point. By the end of this video, you won't just know who wins the fight. You'll understand why that question was always the wrong one to ask. Goku arrived in 1984, a kid raised alone in the mountains. No family, no instructions, just a tail, a power pole, and a strength that kept growing no matter what hit him. Naruto arrived in 1999, an orphan, hated by his own village before he could walk, carrying a monster inside his chest that the adults around him spent years trying to contain. Both rejected, both alone, both told they'd never be enough. But here is where their creators made two completely different decisions, and those decisions are the entire reason this debate still exists. Akira Toriyama built Goku's world around one single idea: there is always a stronger enemy, so there must always be a stronger Goku. Every arc raises the ceiling. Every ceiling gets broken. Power in Dragon Ball is infinite by design. Masashi Kishimoto built Naruto's world around the exact opposite idea. The monster inside Naruto isn't the problem. The hatred that put it there is. Strength without wisdom destroys everything it touches. Naruto's journey isn't about becoming invincible, it's about becoming someone worthy of the power he already has. One story says, break every limit. The other says, understand why the limit exists before you touch it. That's not a power gap. That's a philosophical gap. And it changes everything about how you read this comparison. Let's start at the bottom. No transformations. No power-ups. Just who they are in their most basic state. Goku at his weakest lifts boulders the size of houses before breakfast. Naruto at his weakest sets off his own traps walking through a forest. The base gap is already enormous. But here's what most fans don't realize about Naruto's ceiling, and this is where the debate usually goes wrong. People talk about Naruto like he's the Rasengan guy. Like his peak technique is a spinning ball of energy that breaks buildings. That's Naruto from part 1. That's not who he became. In 6 Paths Sage mode, Naruto has demonstrated feats that reach moon-level scale. He fought Kagaya Otsutsuki, a being who created dimensions, who pulled a second moon out of the sky and weaponized it. He stood against threats that operated on a planetary level. The Naruto who gets dismissed in this debate is not the Naruto that actually exists in the story. Acknowledging that matters. Because a fair comparison doesn't get to pretend Naruto stopped growing after the Chunin exams. Now, Goku. Goku's growth is on a different timeline entirely. Not just in terms of power, in terms of what power even means for him. When Goku first went Super Saiyan, the transformation was so explosive it shook a planet in another solar system. That was the beginning. Not the peak, the beginning. By the time we reach Dragon Ball Super, Goku has demonstrated energy output that operates beyond planetary scale, beyond solar system scale. His battles have taken place in pocket universes, in void dimensions, against beings who treat galaxies as chess pieces. So when we say the gap is wide, this is what we mean. It's not that Naruto is weak. Naruto at his peak is one of the most powerful characters in his entire fictional universe. The problem is that Goku's fictional universe operates on a completely different scale of destruction altogether. But power isn't the only thing that defines a fighter. And this is where the comparison gets genuinely interesting. Goku fights because he loves it. That's not a criticism, it's just true. He has delayed killing villains mid-battle because he wanted a better fight. He has allowed enemies to power up when he could have ended it immediately. In the Tournament of Power, where losing meant the erasure of his entire universe and everyone he'd ever loved, his first instinct was still excitement. There's a word for that. It's not strategy. It's not leadership. It's joy. Pure, uncomplicated joy in combat. Naruto fights because he has no choice. He fights because if he doesn't, the people behind him die. He fights carrying names, Jiraiya, Neji, everyone the war took. Every punch Naruto throws in the final arc has weight behind it that Goku has never had to feel. Now let's talk about how they grow. Because this contrast might be the sharpest one in the whole comparison. Goku's training is physical, brutal, obsessive. He has trained inside a room where gravity is 500 times stronger than Earth's, a room where simply standing up takes everything a normal human has. He has died in battle, gone to the afterlife, and kept training there. His body is the weapon. And he has spent his entire life sharpening it past every limit that existed. The hyperbolic time chamber gives 1 day on the outside for every year lived inside. Goku has used it multiple times. He doesn't train to prepare, he trains because stopping feels wrong to him. Training is who he is when there's nothing to fight. Ultra Instinct didn't come from a lesson or a teacher. It came from a moment of pure survival, from his body moving faster than his conscious mind could follow, making decisions in nanoseconds when his brain couldn't keep up. He didn't learn it. He unlocked it under pressure so extreme it should have killed him. For Goku, growth is always a body problem. Push harder. Survive what should kill you. Break the ceiling that everyone else accepts. Naruto's growth is a relationship problem. His power doesn't come from training harder, it comes from healing deeper. Every major upgrade Naruto receives is preceded by an emotional breakthrough, not a physical one. He couldn't access the Nine Tails chakra until he stopped hating himself for the pain others caused him. He couldn't enter Six Paths mode until he sat with Hagoromo, the sage of Six Paths himself, and understood what love and connection actually meant in terms of power. In Baryon mode, the upgrade wasn't a technique Naruto mastered. It was a sacrifice he and Kurama chose together. They both knew the cost going in. They chose it anyway. And it worked, but it cost Kurama his life. The being who had been sealed inside Naruto since the day he was born. His oldest companion. Gone. Goku has never lost a transformation by choosing to use it. Naruto lost his oldest friend to access his. One hero grows by pushing harder. The other grows by letting go of something he loved. And this brings us to the part of the comparison nobody gives enough time to. Strategy. Leadership. The ability to win without the biggest punch. Put Goku and Naruto in a ring, no rules, no prep, Goku wins. Fast. That's not an opinion, that's physics. But change the mission. Give them a war. 40,000 soldiers. Multiple front lines collapsing at once. An enemy that doesn't fight with power, it fights with despair, turning allies against each other, breaking morale faster than any physical attack could. Goku has no answer to that. He never needed one. Every problem in his universe eventually becomes a fight, and every fight eventually becomes a power question. Who hits harder? Who can take more? Who breaks first? Naruto turned that entire war without relying on his peak form once. He used shadow clones as a real-time intelligence network, feeding him information from every front simultaneously while he coordinated responses. He read an enemy commander's psychological weak points before the enemy commander knew he was afraid. He delivered a speech to 40,000 exhausted, terrified, defeated fighters that shifted the entire momentum of the war before a single punch was thrown. Think about what that means. Not a power-up. Not a transformation. Words. Belief. The ability to make 40,000 people trust you when everything is falling apart. Goku cannot do that. He has never done that. He was never written to. Goku was written to inspire by being extraordinary. Naruto was written to inspire by being human. So who wins? Here's the answer the title earned. In raw power, it's Goku. It was always Goku. Their writers built them to operate in different universes, literally and philosophically, and the number gap reflects that. But the reason Naruto has survived in this conversation for 20 years isn't because fans think he can outpunch Goku. It's because Naruto wins things Goku can't be bothered to win. Wars. Hearts. The kind of loyalty that makes people throw themselves in front of danger for you without being asked. Goku is a force of nature. You survive him or you don't. Naruto is a person. And people follow people. Remember the first line. One was built to break limits. The other was built to prove limits aren't the point. That's not a tie. That's not a cop-out. That's just two writers, in two different countries, in two different decades, asking the same question and getting two completely different answers. What is a hero supposed to be? Toriyama said, stronger than anything. Kishimoto said, connected to everyone. And 20 years later, we're still arguing about it. Which means they were both right. But there is one character, one, who makes both of these answers look incomplete. Because he doesn't fit either definition. He doesn't grow. He doesn't lead. He doesn't even care. He just wins. Every time. Without trying. And that breakdown is next. Subscribe if you want the logic, not just the hype.